The date is April 30th, 1945. Deep beneath the shattered streets of Berlin, in a damp concrete bunker, history is supposed to be reaching its conclusion. The constant thud of Red Army shells shakes the very foundations, making the lights flicker ominously. In a small private room, the world's most wanted man, Adolf Hitler, and his new wife, Eva Braun, make a final decision. They both bite down on capsules of cyanide. For good measure, Hitler then raises a pistol and shoots himself. His body is carried upstairs, doused in gasoline, and set ablaze. That is the official story, a simple, definitive, and final end to a horrific chapter in human history. But what if it wasn't the end? In the chaos of the ruined city, just hours after the flames died down, a whisper began to circulate among the survivors. It was a simple, yet world-changing phrase: Hitler got away. That single rumor, born in the rubble of the Third Reich, refused to die. Decades have passed, yet it persists, taking on new life with every declassified document and every supposed deathbed confession. Tonight, we're pushing the official account aside. We're not here to talk about what the history books tell us. Instead, we're diving deep into the shadows to uncover the 10 biggest, most persistent, and sometimes strangest conspiracy theories surrounding the death of Adolf Hitler, many of which you've likely never heard before. Let's explore the stories that just won't go away. Here's a quick question. If you had to bet all your money on Hitler dying in that bunker, would you do it? Back in 1945, many people, including some high up in the CIA, would have advised against that bet. Stick with us for the next few minutes, and you might find yourself agreeing with them. 10. The Uruguayan Monk. Our first theory takes us to a quiet farm in Uruguay in 1956. A typed letter arrives at the US Embassy. Inside is a blurry photo of an elderly monk with a disturbingly familiar haircut. The caption reads, "Father Adolfo, still alive." The embassy dismissed the file as not believable and archived it. But the story resurfaced 17 years later when the CIA re-examined the case, prompted by a Uruguayan priest who claimed a monk had confessed on his deathbed to being Hitler. With no dental records or fingerprints, all that remained was a face that could have been anyone's grandfather. This theory persists online, not because of wild claims, but because of its simplicity, a quiet, anonymous end for a notorious man in South America. 9. The Spanish Monastery. Next, we travel to a remote monastery in Spain. Under Franco's rule, Spain was officially neutral during the war, but remained friendly to Germany, making it a plausible escape route. The theory posits that Hitler secretly crossed the mountains into Spain, finding sanctuary at the Samos Monastery. The first piece of evidence is a 1946 hotel guest book bearing the name Adolf Hitler. The second is a police report detailing a German VIP convoy spotted in the area on May 1, 1945. Adding to the intrigue, a monk later recalled in an interview that their most important guest had a distinct Austrian accent and was unusually polite. However, when Spain opened its government files in 2018, it revealed that Franco's own spies had searched for Hitler and came up empty. The name in the guest book, almost certainly a prank. 8. The Bunker Double. This one sounds like a movie plot. The story claims that 2 male bodies were found in the garden outside the bunker, one with a bullet hole and one without. Key witnesses from inside the bunker, like telephone operator Rokas Mish, swore this was true. Initially, the Soviets identified the male body as an unknown person. Only later did they change their story, claiming it was Hitler after a dental record match. Conspiracy theorists point to this change in the story as highly suspicious. Their argument is simple: if the Soviets were wrong the first time, why should we believe them the second time? But the science is hard to argue with. In 2018, French scientists definitively proved the jawbone was a perfect match to Hitler's pre-war dental X-rays. As for the supposed double, a man named Gustav Wehler, his dental records were completely different. So, while a body was indeed found, it wasn't Hitler's look-alike. 7. The Soviet misdirection. This next rumor was actively encouraged by none other than Soviet leader Joseph Stalin himself. At a 1945 conference, he casually told the American president that Hitler could be hiding in Argentina or Spain. Subsequently, Soviet newspapers were filled with stories of Hitler sightings within the USSR, always under the watchful eye of the secret police. The goal was a classic piece of misdirection: keep Allied spies chasing ghosts while the Soviets secretly scooped up German rocket scientists. Western intelligence agencies followed up on every tip, but they all led nowhere. It was a masterful case of spreading disinformation to sow chaos. 6. The Indonesian Doctor. This is easily one of the most unusual theories on our list. It claims Hitler lived out his days in Surabaya, Indonesia, as a physician named Dr. Georg Anton Poch, passing away in 1970. The gravestone for Dr. Poch bears the dates 1889 to 1970. The birth year, 1889, is an exact match for Hitler's. Even more striking, his medical license lists his birthplace as Braunau am Inn, the very same as Hitler's. When the body was exhumed in 1976, the skull and jaw, crucial for identification, were missing, having disintegrated in the tropical climate. A 2008 DNA test on a remaining bone fragment confirmed it belonged to a European male, but it was not a match with Hitler's living relatives. The conclusion? It was likely just another German man who shared a startlingly similar background. 5. The Antarctic Fortress. This theory alleges that Hitler didn't just escape Berlin, he fled to a secret Nazi base in Antarctica known as Base 211. The story builds on a kernel of truth. The Nazis did lay claim to a slice of Antarctica in 1939. According to the legend, Hitler and a fleet of U-boats traveled there to build a Fourth Reich inside vast ice caves. Believers often point to Operation High Jump, a massive 1946 US Navy mission to Antarctica, as proof. While officially a training exercise, theorists claim it was a covert military operation to destroy the secret Nazi base. Fueling the fire, the mission's leader, Admiral Byrd, supposedly wrote in his diary about unidentified aircraft that could fly from pole to pole at incredible speeds. In reality, the mission was most likely a show of force aimed at the Soviet Union. And as for the base, modern ice-penetrating radar has revealed nothing but penguins and, well, more ice. 4. The Swedish Disguise. This theory sounds like a spy novel. It claims a Swedish scientist developed hyper-realistic masks that could completely alter a person's appearance, allowing Hitler to live undetected in Stockholm as Erik Hannesson Jr. until 1953. The source of this tale is a 1978 book by a self-proclaimed former German spy who claimed he personally delivered the disguise kit. Swedish public records do in fact show a German chemist by that name existed, but the paper trail goes cold. The Swedish security service investigated and concluded the entire story was an elaborate scam. Still, the blend of plausible science and espionage fiction makes it a tantalizing story. 3. The Argentinian Ranch. Coming in at number 3 is perhaps the most popular and enduring theory of all, that Hitler and Eva Braun lived out a quiet life on a remote ranch in Argentina. The 2009 book Grey Wolf lays out the entire narrative, claiming they lived under the surname Klein and that Hitler died peacefully in 1962. A declassified 1955 CIA memo adds fuel to the fire, detailing a claim from a former SS officer who said he met with Hitler in South America. And the fact that 2 German U-boats, U-977 and U-530, mysteriously surrendered in Argentina in August 1945 seems to bolster the theory. But science tells a different story. In 2018, an excavation at a supposed burial site yielded remains whose DNA belonged to a 19-year-old woman. Meanwhile, Hitler's dental records in Berlin were re-verified as recently as 2022 and remain a perfect match for the jawbone fragments found by the Soviets. As for the U-boats, their official logs show no clandestine stops to pick up any high-ranking passengers. 2. The Colombian car salesman. In 2017, the release of a CIA file caused a media frenzy. It suggested Hitler was alive and well in Tunya, Colombia in 1954, working as a car salesman named Adolf Schultz. Newspapers plastered the accompanying photo everywhere, a thin man with a very familiar mustache. But here's what most reports missed. A note within the same CIA file labels the information unreliable and suggests the source may have been mentally unstable. While Colombian records do show a man named Schultz arrived in 1948, there is zero evidence connecting him to Hitler. In the end, it was just a car salesman with an unfortunate name and an even more unfortunate mustache. Number 1. The ultimate escape plan. And now, for the number 1 theory, the most detailed and elaborate of them all. It claims that on April 29, 1945, Hitler and Eva Braun escaped Berlin aboard 2 separate aircraft. The route was meticulous, a refueling stop in Denmark, island hopping across the Atlantic, and a final rendezvous with 3 U-boats off the coast of Argentina before vanishing into the Andes Mountains. Key evidence cited is a confidential 1947 Argentine police report describing a convoy of German trucks heading toward the town of San Carlos de Bariloche. Another piece is a sworn statement from an SS radio operator who claimed he provided weather updates for the escaping party. But here's where it all falls apart. Flight records from that week show no such planes ever left Germany. Allied patrols were tracking all U-boat activity, and none crossed the Atlantic in a wolf pack of 3. The FBI investigated the radio operator's story and found it baseless. And that smoking gun police report? It turned out to be a forgery sold to a sensationalist magazine. The reality check. So, after wading through all these stories, what is the actual reality? For decades, Russia held a skull fragment with a bullet hole, claiming it was Hitler's. When DNA tests in 2009 proved it belonged to an unknown woman under 40, conspiracy theorists rejoiced. But they ignore the one piece of evidence that has never been refuted: the dental records. The unique gold bridge and teeth found are a perfect, verifiable match to Hitler's pre-war dental X-rays. Furthermore, the eyewitness accounts from those with Hitler in his final days, people like his secretary Traudl Junge and bodyguard Rochus Misch, all tell the same consistent story. He took cyanide, shot himself, and his body was burned. Their testimonies align perfectly with the notes from the Soviet doctors who first examined the scene. Forensic tests on the bunker sofa confirmed the presence of both blood and accelerants from a fire. The only escape Hitler truly made was from facing justice at a trial, not from the city of Berlin. From Spanish monasteries to Antarctic ice caves, these theories are imaginative, intricate, and, when held up to the facts, demonstrably false. Their endurance says less about Hitler and more about our collective fascination with a good mystery. Every declassified file, every blurry photograph, gives them new life. The allure of the unknown is a powerful thing. Which theory did you find most believable? Which one made you laugh? Tell us what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed this, please like the video, share it with a friend who believes one of these theories, and subscribe for more strange history stories. Keep asking questions, but always check the facts.